I am Marvin Gaye, and this is a recount of my final hours before my untimely death. It was April 1st, 1984, and the day began with a heavy tension that seemed to permeate the very air of the house. The relationship between my father and me had always been tumultuous, fraught with underlying tensions and unresolved conflicts that had built up over years. My father, Marvin Gaye Sr., and I had a deeply troubled relationship, exacerbated by his strict religious beliefs and my own struggles with substance abuse and depression. That morning, the atmosphere in our home in Los Angeles was thick with unease. I was living with my parents, trying to find some semblance of peace after years of turmoil in my personal and professional life. My career had seen tremendous highs and devastating lows, and I was in a fragile state, both mentally and physically. Despite my efforts to reconcile with my father, our interactions remained strained, often escalating into heated arguments. The day proceeded uneventfully until the early afternoon. The household was relatively quiet, but the silence was deceptive, masking the underlying tension. My father and I had already had a few minor disagreements earlier in the day, but nothing that seemed out of the ordinary for our volatile relationship. However, as the day wore on, the arguments intensified. Around noon, the confrontation reached a boiling point. The details of what triggered the final argument are hazy, but it was likely a combination of our long-standing issues and my father's inability to tolerate my lifestyle choices. At approximately 12:38 p.m., the argument erupted into violence. My father, in a fit of rage, went to his bedroom and retrieved a .38 caliber pistol that I had given him some time ago for protection. My mother, Alberta, was in the house and witnessed the horrific events that followed. She later recounted that she was standing about 8 feet away from me when my father entered the room, gun in hand. He pointed the weapon at me without saying a word. My mother screamed, but the act was swift and decisive. The first shot hit me directly in the chest, perforating vital organs and causing me to collapse to the floor. The pain was excruciating, but the shock of what was happening was even more overwhelming. As I lay there, bleeding and struggling to breathe, my father stepped closer and fired a second shot at point-blank range. This final act ensured that my injuries were fatal. My mother, in a state of sheer panic and disbelief, ran from the room, fearing for her own life. My brother, Frankie, and his wife, Irene, who lived in a guest house on the property, heard the commotion and rushed to the main house. Frankie found me in a pool of blood, clinging to life but fading fast. He later recounted that I told him, in a faint whisper, that I had finally found peace and that I couldn't continue living the way I had been. My words were a final acknowledgement of the internal struggles and despair that had plagued me for so long. The police arrived shortly after the shooting, and my father was arrested without incident. He later claimed that he had acted in self-defense, though this was widely disputed given the circumstances. My body was transported to the California Hospital Medical Center, where I was pronounced dead on arrival at 1:01 p.m. The news of my death spread quickly, and fans and neighbors gathered outside the house, stunned and grief-stricken. In the aftermath, an autopsy revealed that I had cocaine and PCP in my system at the time of my death. This information, coupled with the accounts of my ongoing struggles with addiction and mental health issues, painted a tragic picture of my final days. My father's actions were later judged as voluntary manslaughter, and he received a suspended sentence and probation, further highlighting the complex and tragic nature of our relationship. My death was a shocking and devastating end to a life that had been filled with both incredible achievements and profound personal battles. I was 44 years old, just one day shy of my 45th birthday. As the world mourned my passing, I hope that my music and legacy would continue to inspire and bring joy to those who had supported me throughout my career. My final hours were a culmination of years of struggle, conflict, and ultimately, a search for peace that I could never fully attain in life. This content may violate our usage policies. Did we get it wrong? Please tell us by giving this response a thumbs down. I am Marvin Gaye, reflecting on my rise and fall, a journey marked by triumphs, tribulations, and an enduring legacy that continues to inspire. My life began on April 2, 1939, in Washington, D.C., born Marvin Pence Gaye Jr. to Marvin Gaye Sr., a strict Pentecostal minister, and Alberta Gaye, a domestic worker. The environment of my early years was characterized by a blend of religious fervor and harsh discipline. My father was a complex figure, deeply religious yet often abusive, which left indelible marks on my psyche. From a young age, I found solace in music. I started singing in church, where my father often accompanied me on the piano. This early exposure to gospel music laid the foundation for my musical career. Despite the harshness at home, my mother's unwavering support and encouragement kept me going. She recognized my talent and nurtured it, providing a counterbalance to my father's oppressive nature. As I grew older, including classics like Ain't No Mountain High Enough and You're All I Need to Get By, were immensely popular and remain timeless. Tammy's tragic death in 1970 deeply affected me, pushing me into a period of depression and self-reflection. Her passing was a pivotal moment, leading me to create one of my most critically acclaimed albums, What's Going On. Released in 1971, What's Going On was a bold departure from the Motown sound. It was a socially conscious album that addressed issues such as poverty, war, and environmental degradation. The album's introspective and thought-provoking lyrics, coupled with its innovative production, resonated deeply with audiences and critics alike. It was a commercial success and cemented my status as a pioneering artist who could blend artistry with activism. The success of What's Going On was followed by other significant works, including Let's Get It On in 1973. I joined several vocal groups, eventually becoming a member of the doo-wop group, The Marquis, which later became the Moonglows under the direction of Harvey Fuqua. This period was crucial in honing my skills and expanding my musical horizons. The Moonglows moved to Chicago, and our subsequent recordings with Chess Records were significant steps in my early career, but it was my eventual solo career with Motown Records that truly defined my rise. Signing with Motown in the early 1960s, I quickly established myself as a formidable talent. My early hits like Stubborn Kind of Fellow, Hitchhike, and Pride and Joy showcased my smooth vocal style and versatility. Working with some of Motown's finest talents, including Smokey Robinson and Holland Dozier Holland, I delivered a string of successful singles and albums. One of the most defining periods of my career was my collaboration with Tammy Terrell. Our duets. The single Sexual Healing became one of my biggest hits, earning me my first 2 Grammy Awards. Despite this resurgence, my personal demons continued to haunt me. My relationship with my second wife, Janice Hunter, was fraught with problems, and my battle with addiction persisted. In 1983, I returned to the United States, hoping to reconcile with my family and revive my career. However, the move proved to be a tragic mistake. My relationship with my father, always volatile, deteriorated further. The pressures of my career, financial woes, and ongoing drug use exacerbated the tensions at home. On April 1, 1984, during an argument with my father, he shot and killed me. I was 44 years old. My death was a shocking and heartbreaking end to a life filled with both extraordinary musical achievements and profound personal struggles. In the years since, my legacy has only grown. I have been posthumously awarded numerous honors, including inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Songwriters Hall of Fame. My music continues to inspire and influence new generations of artists, and my contributions to soul, R&B, and popular music remain unparalleled. Reflecting on my life, I see a journey marked by both incredible highs and devastating lows. My music was a reflection of my soul, my struggles, and my passions. It was a way for me to express the complexities of my experiences, from the joy of love to the pain of loss and the pursuit of social justice. Despite the tumult, I am proud of the legacy I have left behind. My story is a testament to the enduring